on that donate button.
Mary had a little man.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream.
Change has come to America.
Believe me. Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Alan Weisselberg, the Trump Organization's former CFO, will likely be serving 5 months at Rikers Island in New York. He pleaded guilty just moments ago to all 15 counts against him. Now, we have to point out these counts in this case does not personally name Trump, but it names a number of executives with inside the Trump Organization. Alan Weisselberg at the top for taking basically payments and perks off the books to the tune of $1.8 million and then avoiding taxes on them. So basically, this is all coming down to tax evasion by the Trump Organization. What's interesting here is that now that we're seeing that Alan Weisselberg will be so cooperative, pleading guilty to all 15 counts, we can expect testimony from him where we can understand more about the inner workings of this company and the measures that executives there took to try to hide income and other things and keep it away from tax from the IRS.
Oh, America, 15 felonies, and he's going to get maybe 100 days in jail. 15 felonies, everybody, including grand larceny and criminal tax fraud. And the 75-year-old Weisselberg is going to get, 100 days in Rikers Island is what it's going to have. I mean, Better Call Saul, everybody. Better Call Saul. This is just, this is so, look, grand larceny and criminal tax fraud. That should be on the masthead of Trump Organization stationery. It's unbelievable to me. Now, any building that is emblazoned with the gold letters Trump, is telling the world that they are a criminal enterprise. They are criminally operated and criminally owned. And people still pay for that branding. How stupid can you get? But, listen, this is what happens. This is what happens with, you lay down with dogs. You wake up in Rikers Island with fleas is what happens. So, listen, the only way for me to feel at all like there's some equal justice under the law in this here country is to do it by a percentage. What do I mean by that? Well, Weisselberg is 75 years old. And so it's as a percentage of his remaining life. See what I mean? It's the only thing that I can do to calm myself over this miscarriage of justice. But yes, he's going to have to testify against his beloved Trump Organization, which is the only job this man has ever had. He worked for Donald Trump's father, and he worked for Donald Trump for like 40 years. Well, so maybe that's like being in prison for your whole life. That can't be pleasant. I would think Rikers Island might be like a spring vacation for him. Oh, my God. Virtually all his adult life was spent jiggling around Trump numbers. Do you know? I mean, that can't be fun. That couldn't be, a good way to live your life. I don't think maybe there's any punishment worse than working for the Trump family for your whole entire life. Look at Eric. Look at, Beavis and Butthead. They didn't turn out too well. Yeah. So for some of you, maybe you remember Alan Weisselberg from The Apprentice, which was supposed to be a reality show. Well, welcome to harsh reality, Weisselberg. Welcome to a harsh reality show. Maybe we should, review The Apprentice, but this time as a crime drama, a criminal drama. Just saying. So, yeah, he's going to have to testify. Here's David K. Johnston, who is, whenever you need tax information, not a bad place to start.
Depending on what prosecutors do with this deal, it could be very, very troubling for the Trump Organization, which is a co-defendant along with Alan Weisselberg. And ultimately, this case, at least in theory, could lead to dissolution of the Trump Organization as a corporation and require Donald Trump to hold his properties in his own name, which exposes him to a lot more liability in other matters.
Yeah, I think we should focus on that because the headline was, he's not going to cooperate when it comes to Donald Trump. It's not without some peril, perhaps, for Donald Trump that you could see the Trump Organization dissolved here. There's a lot at stake for him.
Exactly. And Letitia James also is likely in her state civil case to eventually seek this. You'll recall when these charges were brought as an effort to leverage Weisselberg that I predicted would fail, and it did, to move against Donald Trump. It was poo-pooed by Trump's representatives and lawyers who said, it's not that much money and everybody does this. This is $1.8 million of taxable fringe benefits that were evaded by not reporting them. By the way, the median wage worker in America, the person half earn more, half earn less, would need 52 years to earn that much money. The average wage, about 40 years.
Better get busy, maggots. Better get busy. The man literally was a criminal tax cheat. So now maybe you understand why Donald Trump stiffs everybody, because the one time he does pay somebody, he gets caught. He gets caught in such a way that it's a felony. Okay. It's really sick. What a crime boss this man is. I swear to God. So this was a long time scheme by the Trump Organization to avoid paying taxes by concealing executive pay and executive perks. And this is probably the only time that Trump is on record for paying somebody. It just takes your breath away. It really does. But hey, listen, if you're a maggot and you think Trump is all about you and you think Trump is all about, honest government and, he's got you all unloading your weapons on like Motel 6 beds and TikToking it and videotaping yourself, say, they're coming for us, they're coming. Perhaps you should make a note of why we need IRS enforcement in this here country. I mean, the fraud that goes on at the very tippy top, I don't really think they're coming after you for your 1040 easy form. That's just an opinion, but I don't see it happening. I don't see armed guys bypassing the H&R Block that you use to file your taxes only to come up with a refund at the end instead of you owe anything because you didn't owe anything, because 57% of Americans don't owe any federal income tax. So I don't know why, you're all, you got your panties all in a bunch about, actually enforcing our tax laws when you can clearly see that there's been so much tax fraud, and that when you get charged with criminal tax fraud and grand larceny, meaning you avoided over $2 million in taxes as an accountant, that's what he was. And when you can avoid paying $2 million in taxes as an accountant because you were paid under the table, because they gave you free rent, because they bought you cars, because they paid for your kids' college tuition, and those things should have been taxed as ordinary income, and you should have paid for those things. You get away with it, and you get 100 days. They're saying 5 months. They're saying, he'll be sentenced to 5 months in Rikers. No, he'll get 100 days with time served. Literally, it's like nothing. Do you really think that's what would happen to you if you cheated the IRS out of $2 million? Because I don't think so. 15 felonies. 100 days, everybody. 100 days. It's amazing. You got little kids that are locked up in juvie, swear to God, for skipping school for longer time periods than Weisselberg. But he is going to have to testify against the Trump Organization, and because he's pled guilty, he has absolutely no ability to invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination because he's already incriminated. He already admitted to the felonies. He already pled guilty. So now he has to testify. He has to testify about all the numbers. And, there's so many cases. This trial starts in October. This is a criminal trial. Then you got the civil trial by the DA in New York. Then you got Georgia. Then you got the DOJ. Oh, my God. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.